Avengers Infinity War Part 2. Remember when that was a thing? Dun 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 dun. Avengers Endgame. So Avengers Endgame is once again written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and once again, McFeely, very appropriate. This movie's got tons of the McFeelys, and it's of course based off of the comics by Stan Lee, as well as Jack Kirby and Jim Starlin. And of course it is, once again, directed by the Russos. And this movie stars everyone. Everyone who is in a major or minor Avengers role is in this, among many others. You want the list? Go to IMDb. No way. Okay, guys, this was kind of a last minute thing. Last year is when I kind of started slowing down on the whole new releases thing, at least for now. If I was going to continue with this channel with such a rough schedule, I had to do something. Since I did Infinity War, which is essentially Infinity War Part 1, well then here you go. Plus the movie is pretty well set to dethrone Avatar as the highest grossing movie of all time. Doesn't make it good, but anyways, here's my incredibly vague review of the greatest movie of the year thus far. Yeah.
Characters.
Look, it would have been totally cool if these guys just skipped some character development and just got to getting business done, okay? Because we've had 11 years to do that. We're good. But by some magical way, they were able to pull off some development with these characters. Even more. That magical thing was not a spoiler. Speaking of which, guys, I'm not one of those people. No spoilers, no hints, no helpful nudges for all 7 of you who haven't seen the movie yet. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie yet, then I may need to snap some sense into you. No, that'd be rude. In fact, now that I think about it, is that what happened to Vicini? Was his annoyingness so incredibly powerful that he resisted being dusted? Does that make me Thanos? Wait, is Vicini Galactus? Is that a Plua? Boy, that went places. People, everything that you could have come to expect when you take all of these pieces, I'm calling them pieces because it makes me sound smarter. Anyways, if you take all of these pieces exactly where they were left at the end of Infinity War, Endgame took them and did the absolute best they possibly could have done with each, building up to the epic climax of an era. Were there some nitpicks? Sure. But the more I think about them, they either start making sense or they're completely overshadowed by how great this movie is. Guys, you are in for a ride with these characters. They are pushed to their limits and are redeemed so very well in an individually appropriate fashion. I'm excited for you guys to behold. The characters make this movie.
Acting.
Yeah, all these fools just phoned it in and they sucked. I'm kidding. By sucked, I meant they were freaking amazing, because this is the best display of acting in the MCU. It just is. It is. Ergo de facto, Endgame's acting was just freaking spot on. Tear up moments, guys. Like waterfall of emotions. Like, wow. That acting makes you realize that this movie isn't just a fun flick. Every movie in the MCU added weight to the character of each hero. And now that these characters are here, the actors gotta step up to the plate, make it all worth it. The performances show. So worth it.
Dialogue.
Oh boy. The lines in this movie, guys. The lines. They're so good. Beautifully, beautifully written. I'm so glad that we live in an age where most superhero movies wouldn't use lines like,
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
Goodness. Expect to walk out of this movie remembering a line or 10. Whoo boy.
Story.
There is literally nothing I can say in this part without spoiling something, you know, giving you a nudge or a hint. Or it was fantastic. A little slow in parts, but the necessary kind. It was fun and necessary.
Predictability.
You know what comes to mind when I think of the plot of this movie? It's like when Luke Skywalker says,
"This is not going to go the way you think."
Except this time Disney didn't piss off an entire fan base. Yeah, because within the first 10 minutes, I was like,
Okay, I can see where this is going. You see, this is your classic.
Hey! Take a seat. You don't know anything. Good. Now let me teach you.
yeah, as soon as the screen grew a mouth and started talking, everybody pretty much cleared out. But in all serialness, this movie, I didn't know what was going to happen in this movie. Constantly. It almost made up for anything that I considered to be slow. It's like, okay, where do we go now? All I can say is that the movie is incredibly clever in how it allows itself to play out. It's impressive, it's familiar, and somehow it's still fresh. What an enigma.
Morale.
This movie has a lot to say. And I can't really tell you any of those things without spoiling anything. Generally speaking, there are messages on how there are many types of heroes. Family comes first, and among others, it is at times openly allegorical. So here's the thing with these superhero movies. I've found that, generally speaking, a way to gauge whether a universal audience liked a superhero movie is if they came out learning something. Unless it just bats out competent escapism. Both Infinity War and Endgame have a very grand accomplishment in common. Morale. This movie is here to make us better people. All of the great ones have taken the challenge of doing this. And for the most part, they succeed.
Extra.
Dun, 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 dun. The soundtrack, guys, needs to be acknowledged because the Avengers theme song is freaking fantastic, and it has gotten better with each and every Avengers movie. It's not disposable, it's used to enhance the experience. It makes the movie even more worth it than it already was. I'm just telling you guys, the last half hour of this movie, the music just plays the part. It swells and it gets you pumped and it's perfect. So well done on the freaking soundtrack. The whole thing, not just, the theme. The whole thing, but mostly the theme. I've seen this movie thrice and it's gotten better every single time. It is, in fact, my absolute favorite MCU film. Until a spoiler review comes out, I can't entirely explain why. It just is at number 10. Alright folks, please don't forget to go check out my review of Avengers Infinity War, link down in the description. Incoming is my review of The Greatest Showman, one of fellow reviewers Jackie K. Cooper's favorite movies of all time. I'm going to be honest and true in this review, as I always am. You're going to want to see this one. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that way you get notifications of that review. And now, it's back to slaying.